The Lazarus Project. Someday I will collect you too. A paranormal suspense thriller by Carrie Merrill. Narrated by Becky Parker. Chapter 1. Detective Ryan Mills didn't notice the sway of the patrol car as she studied the photograph of the victim. Soft brown eyes looked out from under dark lashes, and waves of chestnut hair fell across the woman's shoulders. It could have been a photo she had used to apply to a modeling agency, but it was only her college ID. Ryan tilted her head and looked at the slight curve of the woman's smile. Then the car jolted, making the file slip, and she caught it before the entire thing scattered at her feet on the passenger side of the sedan. "Bump," Hinson said from behind the wheel, a few seconds too late. She tucked the remainder of the papers into the file, but kept the photo on top. The woman's gentle stare still looked back at her. "Got any insight before we get there?" Hinson spoke again. Ryan filled her lungs with a steady inhale and glanced over to her partner. Roger, but everyone called him Hinson, kept his eyes on the street ahead of them. The road was pocked with potholes from rains that fell throughout the county in the last few weeks. Sparkles of orange-red light from the coming dusk glinted off the greasy black water in each hole. "Veronica Taylor," she started, her gaze drifting back to the ID photo. 22 years old, senior at Monroe State University, about to graduate in 3 weeks with a degree in business. "So, she was smart." Roger tilted the wheel in a sharp right to avoid another pothole. 3.9 GPA. Ryan opened the file again and withdrew the stats sheet from the top of the pile. Originally from Port Town. Family still lives there. Both parents still alive, a brother and sister, both older. Kept her nose clean, no priors. From everything I could dig up, she was pretty straightforward. Was the key word. No longer. She didn't need to read the sheet to know the rest. No serious boyfriends, lived with 2 other roommates off campus in a gated apartment building. Scattered friends here and there. The car jolted again as it hit another hole, but not before she could grab the file and hold it against her torso. She glanced up to the darkening late spring sky. Going out to these places at night made her skin crawl, and it was something she hadn't gotten used to so far, no matter how many years she had done this. Everything smelled different, looked different. And the sounds that crept from behind all the lights felt like something watched them from every shadow. "Okay, Veronica goes missing last Saturday," Hinson said. Ryan nodded. A phone call comes into 911 from one of the roommates at about 23:45. She states that Veronica hasn't come home and isn't answering her phone. She didn't show up to class all day. The last person that made contact with her is her friend Clint Musker. They usually study together, and they were both in the library on Friday night. "Musker's a boyfriend?" She shook her head. "Not according to him. He says that she left the library before he did, and this is corroborated on street cams just outside the library. She leaves alone and walks across the street, out of camera view. Normally, she takes the bus on Lincoln Street, but the bus cam has no evidence of her ever boarding in the time after she leaves the library." Roger shoots her a glance. "I know the missing persons report was filed as of Sunday morning." "Correct." She leaned her elbow on the side of the passenger door. Hinson knew about as much of the case as she did up to this point. Of course, he still thought of himself as her training officer, but that was okay. It kept her on her toes. She didn't want to miss anything or get complacent like some
Sample complete. Ready to continue?